Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. He broke a lot of ladies' hearts back in the day, but according to Ahmed Johnson, he also broke his heart and he also screwed him out of the WWE Championship. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. And Ahmed Johnson, of all people, I've not heard of this guy in a long time. And I remember when I first started watching wrestling, Ahmed Johnson is one of those guys that just stood out for me. He was big, black, powerful. The muscles were exploding on this guy. If he collided with an iceberg instead of Titanic, the iceberg would have sunk. This guy was massive when I first started watching wrestling, and he legitimately looked like a powerhouse. He looked like he could beat up everybody. Now, he didn't go on to be a WWE champion. He did win the Intercontinental Championship belt. However, he's putting that on Shawn Michaels. He is blaming Shawn Michaels for that. Now, since Ahmed Johnson left the wrestling business, he kind of stayed away. He has had a few interviews. He's brought up racism in WWE in the past, but he's not one of these guys that has continually came back and made lots of appearances and stuff like that. He's been almost quiet since he left wrestling for good. However, he has resurfaced. He is not dead. He is well and truly alive, and he recently did an interview with WrestleNews.co, and he, funnily enough, has blamed Shawn Michaels for derailing his world title push back in the mid-90s. So we know that Ahmed Johnson seems to have a bad reputation. He seems to have a bad rep, but he went on this interview. He says that nobody said anything to his face. Everybody got on with him until he left the company. And he went on to say, if you ask anybody in WCW, nobody had a bad word to say about him. But one person Ahmed Johnson clearly didn't get on with is the Heartbreak Kid, is Shawn Michaels. And he has said that Shawn Michaels pretty much ruined any chance of him becoming a world champion. He said that Shawn Michaels, back in the 90s, ran WWF, and whatever Shawn Michaels wanted, Shawn Michaels got. And unfortunately for Ahmed Johnson, Shawn Michaels didn't want a Johnson title reign. So this is what Ahmed Johnson had to say based on Michaels and allegedly ruining his world title plans. Quote, I believe Vince had a change of mind. All the junk that Shawn Michaels and some of the other boys put in Vince's head, you know, they're not ready for a black champion. But you're just seeing me win the Intercontinental belt. So you know I'm ready. You know the fans are all ready. But Shawn Michaels, man, he kind of ran the coop back then. He was like the head dog back then. So whatever he says, you know, kind of went. I remember him calling me to the office one day after my third match. And he tells me, Ahmed, I can't let you do them high-flying moves anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? You ain't letting me do nothing, first of all. I'll do it if I want to do it. He said, well, what happens is when I do it at £190 and you do it at £355, it doesn't look as great when I do it. End of quote. So, Ahmed Johnson blaming Michaels on going to Vince and basically playing the race card, saying that they're not ready for a black champion. Now, this would have made Ahmed Johnson the first black WWF champion had he won the belt back then. Was he ready for the belt? I personally don't think so. In the 90s, you had Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Undertaker. You had those guys competing for the title. I don't really see Ahmed Johnson as world champion material. And there is no shame in that. Not everybody can be a world champion. I just don't think in that era. I don't think when you compare him to Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, he's just not there. He was an Intercontinental champion, and that's a great belt to have. But, yeah, I don't necessarily think if Shawn Michaels was to blame, if Shawn Michaels did say this stuff, I think maybe I would agree with Shawn Michaels. I think it would have been very quick and very soon and rushed to just stick the world title on Ahmed Johnson. This is a guy that didn't really have that much in the way of promos, didn't have that much in the way of a personality. I mean, for sure, we could have stuck a manager on him, and I'm sure that he could have had a good run because he was jacked. I mean, you could have believed this guy as a heel. Hell, you could have believed this guy, I guess, as a babyface. But was he really world title material in 96, 97. I'm not entirely sure. And then, of course, we all know the story of Ahmed Johnson. He's told it multiple times when he won the Intercontinental Championship. He went out in his rental car, had scratched in it, "Congratulations, nigger." So, yeah, I mean, obviously, someone didn't like Ahmed Johnson. Someone didn't like him for the colour of his skin. And I believe he said, not recently, but in the past, in an interview, that the two people he suspected for doing that was Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. I can't imagine Steve Austin would do that. I think if Steve Austin had an issue, he would tell Ahmed Johnson to his face. So maybe that's on Shawn Michaels. Maybe what Ahmed Johnson's saying here, maybe this has got legs. Maybe he can run with this. Maybe Shawn Michaels legitimately did have an issue with Ahmed Johnson. But do I believe that Shawn Michaels had to bury Ahmed Johnson to keep Johnson below Michaels? No. Because in the 90s, mid-90s, Michaels was the main man in WWE. Ahmed Johnson was not on his level. Ahmed Johnson should not have been winning world titles over Shawn Michaels. So Shawn Michaels might have had a poor opinion of Ahmed Johnson. Shawn Michaels might have not liked Ahmed Johnson. But in all honesty, I don't think that is really relevant. Whether Shawn Michaels loved Ahmed Johnson, whether Shawn Michaels hated Ahmed Johnson wasn't Shawn Michaels. He wasn't fit to lace Shawn Michaels' boots, if we're being honest. Not many people were. So that's nothing against Ahmed Johnson. But yeah, was he worthy of taking the belt off the Heartbreak Kid? In my opinion, definitely not. Let me know what your guys' opinions are down below, though. Ahmed Johnson, like I said, I thought he had a decent run. It would have been better if he stayed in the Nation, in my opinion. I think he would have suited being in the Nation, but he didn't get along with Farouk, and him and Farouk had a lot of heat. And we know how that went in that fight, where Farouk pretty much just kicked his ass and legitimately hurt him on purpose in the ring. So I guess the moral of the story is don't mess with Farouk. Would Shawn Michaels hurt anybody in the ring? I don't know, unless he had Vince McMahon's blessing and about 20 million bodyguards to protect him. However, it wasn't all doom and gloom for Ahmed Johnson. He did have positive words for Scott Hall, for Razor Ramon, the bad guy. Turns out he is a good guy. Ahmed Johnson said he was the only guy that helped him. Razor would sit behind the curtain and watch his matches, and when he was done, he would give Ahmed advice, saying you need to do more of this, you need to do less of that, do this, don't do that. And that Razor Ramon was the only guy that helped him, that gave him information, that gave him tips, and that pretty much everyone else was jealous of him. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's Ahmed Johnson's. That's the way he's telling the story. Whether that's true or not, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's kind of funny how Razor Ramon was the bad guy, but everyone has got an opinion that he was the good guy. That tends to be how it goes sometimes. You look at actors, a lot of actors who play bad guy roles tend to be the nicest of people. So it's kind of strange how that one works out. But anyway, guys, been Fog Wrestling. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. And until next time, peace.